was a nightmare.
Brett was born in Youngstown, Ohio, and he was born on November 8, 1993. As a little kid, he liked a lot of attention. He wanted to be held a lot. He had ear infections and things, so that probably made it so he wanted to be held more and everything. And I have to say, he didn't sleep through the night until he was 16 months old. We moved here when Brett was 3 years old.
He loved sports. I mean, he played a lot of different sports. He did baseball, he did Carmel Dad's Club rec type of sports, basketball, but soccer, he fell in love with it. He had the passion of it and being on a team.
He was oftentimes, his position was a center mid, so he was so good at keeping his head up and having good field vision and bringing that ball up the field and distributing it to people, sometimes taking the shot himself when it was open. And he just played with such strength. He also was such a good team player that he was a joy to watch.
He loved playing with his teammates. They all talked about it. He was the guy they knew always had his back out on the field.
He cared a lot about the players, and if someone injured someone, the other player hurt our player, he'd be there within a second to back you up, and so he's just really caring.
He liked to read and he liked to write, and he really enjoyed his English classes.
He enjoyed fishing, enjoyed hanging out with friends, always loved going to the beach. Working with special needs kids was one of the big things. He did that at the Monon Center and really loved that, and really went back to the high school. One of his favorite things was a boy named Danny. And Danny had some special needs, and he was the honorary team manager of the Carmel High team. And Brett was always taking extra time out with him.
In junior high, he was your typical smelly junior high kid that you just wanted to make sure that he put on deodorant and everything. And then I guess it was probably when he started high school, he decided he liked deodorant, liked cologne, and about sophomore year, he really started to like dressing well. He loved winning the best dressed, and he went to the senior graduation night just hoping so much that he would win that award, and he kind of sealed the deal, although the vote had already been taken, when he showed up in his white suit.
Brett was always so friendly. He would do anything for anyone, and he had the most vivacious personality. He would make anyone laugh.
He was really funny and always made me laugh, and you just want to be around him, and that's someone I wanted to be like.
He wanted to go to University of Oklahoma. He was going to major in business. Didn't know exactly what in business, but it was going to be something.
That was our anniversary.
We were celebrating our 26th, and we went out to a very nice dinner.
And Brett was taking Jenna to soccer practice and took her out to eat dinner.
And while we were out at dinner, Brett drove the soccer carpool for us so that we could go out to dinner together.
And we got home 9, and he was leaving about 9:15. He was really doing his goodbyes to friends, going around because he was leaving for college in 5 days. And so he was heading off to a friend's house. As he walked out the door, he did his, I love you and so forth. And, this was the last thing we expected.
And I guess it was probably around 11:30 or so. My husband and I went to sleep.
Apparently, he made a bad decision to drink, and that impaired his decision making, and he drank more.
And we woke up to the phone call at 1:45 in the morning. I answered the bedroom phone, and it was a Carmel police officer. And he said that our son had been drinking, and that his heart had stopped, and that they were taking him to the St. Vincent Hospital, and that we needed to get there as fast as we could. So we did. I threw on some clothes. I didn't think I was going to be at the hospital a long time. I thought that everything was going to work out, and he was just going to have to, I was thinking get his stomach pumped or something like that. I didn't know that they don't even do that these days, but that's not the treatment usually. So we got to the hospital, and Brett looked good. And they said that they had revived his heart, so I was very optimistic that he was going to be okay. But they told us he was in serious condition still. They didn't say anything about his brain at that time.
I walked into the room and I couldn't see him at first just because it was so crowded, and then I finally saw him and I just was like frozen in time because he was hooked up to all these monitors, and you would just never think that you would see a friend like in that condition. There were literally people everywhere surrounded in his room out into the hallway, and then they had also reserved a private room with chairs in the room next to his, and it was literally filled everywhere. So it was overwhelming, but it was nice to know that we were all there for him and his family.
On the brain activity test that they did, the doctor told us that it didn't look good, but that they'd do another test in about a day. So they cooled his body so that his brain wouldn't swell or get too swollen. And then they had to gradually, after they cooled his body, warm his body back up, which was a faster process, so that then they could test his brain and see if there was any activity, and then they did that. And they found out that there wasn't any brain activity. And so that's when we knew that it was done. He wasn't with us anymore. And then we had the the organ donation people talk to us and everything. And Brett's wishes were to be an organ donor. I had been with him when he got his license, and we had talked about it. And so I went along with his wishes. We did, and went through the organ donation process, which I'm glad that we did that, because that's what Brett wanted, and he was able to help some other people that way.
The kids that were there did not know about the Lifeline law or did not take the steps to call right away. They were scared to get in trouble, which is understandable. We wish it was different, because if it was different, Brett may be here, the one telling you of his story versus us.